Hello everyone, the Instant Camera Guy here, and a slightly different video today. Today I want to be talking about how to send your SX70 overseas, should it need repair. Now I know about 50% of you watching right now will be going, Jake, what a completely ridiculous topic for a video, who doesn't know how to put something in the post? But the truth of the matter is, for a lot of my international clients, this is the first time that they are sending something overseas, and quite often their camera has sentimental value, it's their little baby, and they don't want anything to happen to it. So I wanted to just show you guys how exactly I do it, some little tips, and I wanted to just talk a little bit about the cost of shipping and exchange rates. So first of all, before I go into anything, I want to just address the myth that shipping internationally is somehow very expensive. Truth of the matter is it's generally more expensive than shipping somewhere domestic, but that's just what you have to do when you want to get a parcel overseas. The one thing that I'd like to remind people is where I live is a little place called Australia. It's a rather large island at the bottom of the world, and our exchange rate typically isn't amazing. Most of the time we're being utterly demolished by the US dollar or the euro, and if years from now this video is out of date because our Australia dollar is really strong for some reason, well, I will tell you that something dramatic must have happened. There must be some kind of global catastrophe or economic crisis or world war. So a lot of times, even though you may have to ship it out to me, say from Europe or America over to Australia, what you're making up for is the exchange rate. And I think I get a lot of clients that are sometimes confused because they just look at the numbers on my price lists without actually factoring in the currency difference. So if you want to figure out what my prices are in your local currency, all you have to do, hop onto Google and just Google something like currency calculator, or even just, USD to AUD, Euro to AUD, something like that, and you'll be able to just plug in the values. It's all amazing. We have the internet these days. You can figure out that stuff online pretty darn easily. But the other day I calculated for someone, and it was something along the lines of like 360 Australian dollars was something like I think 230 or 250 American, so it was substantially less. So I just wanted to point that out first. Now, in terms of shipping an SX70 internationally, the one thing you need to know, you don't need to go ridiculous in terms of the boxes. Another way that you can save money in terms of shipping is by recycling boxes. So I have this box from Sephora that used to contain some makeup products that my wife ordered, and it is pretty much the perfect size for an SX70. SX70 cameras, although people tend to think they're quite fragile because of their folding design, these things are only really fragile in the erect position. If you collapse the camera down, it's actually incredibly strong. And the truth of the matter is that the original packaging for the SX70 was not that much bigger than the actual camera, because these things are remarkably strong when collapsed down, so you don't really need to worry about it too much. So my top tips are, first of all, recycle a box where you can. Not only is it better for the environment, but it's going to save you money. Now, if you don't have a box, little tip, literally just go through some recycling garbage. Most apartment complexes or homes will have some recycling. Recycled garbage is generally pretty darn clean. It is just cardboard after all. There's usually nothing gross that goes in there. Or go to a local store that might be getting rid of boxes. For example, here in Australia, our local hardware store, our hardware chain Bunnings, they just give away cardboard boxes for free. Most liquor stores will have boxes that wine bottles came in that they just give away to people for free. There's lots of places that you can get a free box, and just aim for something roughly the same size as the camera. So what I am just going to do here is basically just box this up. I'm going to show you guys how I do it. I like to include test photos for all of my clients. This wasn't the best quality of film. This was some heat damage stuff that I picked up locally from the store, but every camera that I refurbish, I do try and give some little sample photos just as a little keepsake. And the other thing I like to do as well, I like to recycle a lot of bubble wrap. So this bubble wrap had another item in it before it was sent to me. So this is nice and sturdy stuff, and basically I'm just gonna tuck everything in, and we've got one layer done. Now this is really thick bubble wrap tubing. I like to just make sure that everything fits, and what I'm gonna do now is just give that a few more layers. I'm just diving under the desk here to grab some more bubble wrap. But yeah, really 1 or 2 layers is kind of all that's required. I had a client send me a camera the other day, and yeah, it was a little overboard in terms of how it was wrapped. There's really no need to tape and wrap these things up like you're sending narcotics. I got one delivered, and the client had wrapped it, they'd used tape, they'd used all kinds of stuff. And the package arrived in very good condition, but it took me like 20 minutes to open the darn thing. So, while it is nice, you don't need to go completely overboard. Fact of the matter is, damage during shipping is actually extraordinarily rare for me to see. Like, it's just not common these days, nor is missing packages. So in terms of packages that go missing in the mail these days, most postal systems by default have tracking even on basic items. And that means that really the odds of the parcel going missing while it's in transit is actually really slim. Generally, if you're going to have anything go missing, it's usually because of porch pirates. So, and again, that's pretty rare. I'm not saying it can't happen, but if you live somewhere that's not particularly secure, it's worth just letting whoever is shipping you, whatever product it may be, it's worth just letting them know so that they can put special instructions on the box to help out, or so that the seller can put, like, say, signature on delivery or something like that. So that is basically it. This is ready now to be taped up. I'm going to go to the post office after I print my shipping label for this, and this is going to go on its way home to Singapore. So really, that's as easy as it is. Now, in terms of customs information, what I would recommend you doing is sending it over as just a broken camera. So label on the side of it, you know, broken or camera being returned for repair. And then when I ship it back to you, there's really 2 options that we can do, and this will depend on what country you live in. I know, for example, that I have a client from Denmark, and taxes there on receiving mail are crazy for just about everything. Like, even within Europe, I think you have to pay very high taxes. So what I can do in that case is basically mark the item as returned goods and put a low value on it. I'm happy to do that. If you want the package to be completely insured for its top value, then I'm happy to do that too. It's really up to you. So you and I will have a bit of a discussion about shipping when it comes time to it, and if there are any special regulations. And if marking down the value of the goods substantially lowers the shipping cost back to you, I will of course give a bit of a discount. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about, was just how to pack up an item for the post. All you would need to do now is basically take this to the post office, fill in a little form, or if you have an online account, just simply do that online. Obviously, I'm based in Australia. And yeah, just remember when you are looking at my prices that everything is in Australian dollars, and they are drastically different to American dollars, very different to euros, and those are sort of the top 2 currencies that I deal with. Because I do see a lot of people online say, oh, it's so expensive to send to, you know, wherever, whether they're sending from Australia to America or vice versa. It's really not that bad. And at the end of the day, I'd like to emphasize that you get what you pay for. I've been repairing cameras for 13 years and really specializing on the SX70 for the past 4 or so, coming up with heaps of different innovations and ways to service them. And I'm giving a little bit of that back through this channel, showing off the repair information. So as always, if you like what I do, feel free to leave a comment, feel free to leave a like, a subscribe, or simply donate me a coffee or a beer or two using the links below. I hope this video is helpful to some people. I certainly think it's going to be a video where people go, Jake, why did you do this? But really, I do think it'll help. But yeah, end of the day, few bits of bubble wrap, a decent sized box. There is no need to go nuts. And yeah, you can have this thing safely on its way, and I'll pack it safely back. I will generally recycle whatever packaging that you send it in with. And yeah, if you want to send a camera my way, please feel free to do so. Have a wonderful day.